Hi friends! I'm so excited because I'm here today to teach you about something new. I recently learned about it and I wanted to try it out before sharing it with you because I wanted to make sure it was good. And let me tell you, I have been loving it so much. So I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy it just as much as I have, if not more. It's called a coping box. You can also call it a calming box, a stress box, a sensory box, your magic box, the wonderful box of emotions. I call mine my peace box because it's a box that makes me feel very peaceful, especially when I'm not already feeling that way. What it is a box full of a bunch of items. But what's the purpose of that? The purpose is to help us regulate our emotions and our bodies. So sometimes we start to feel dysregulated, which means we start to feel so angry, sad, annoyed, frustrated, disappointed, overwhelmed. And these feelings, we eventually start to lose control over them, which then leads to us losing control over our actions, the things we say, the things we do. And we might end up treating people in a bad way or treating ourselves badly. We might end up giving up on something that we could have done really well at. So that's why it's really important to regulate ourselves. And that is what this box is for. We are going to fill it with items that help us feel better in those moments and help us either calm down or start to think more positively about a situation. So, how do we get started? First, we need a box or a bag. You can choose, if you have a shoe box, use that. If your parents are like me and have been shopping on Amazon a little bit too much, you can use an Amazon box. You can use anything, fancy box, fancy bag, a silly bag, whatever works for you. So next we want to start filling this box or bag. How we do that is we start to think of our five senses, and what those are what we can see, what we can smell, what we can taste, what we can hear, and what we can feel. And the reason we start to think about our five senses is because they can help us a lot when we're trying to regulate ourselves. So in our box, we want to make sure that we have at least one item for each sense. And how we can do that is by making a checklist. So as you can see, I put each sense and I made a couple boxes to make sure that I had at least one thing, if not more, for those senses. So you can do the same. And then as I grab these items, I check them off my list. So I'm going to show you what I have in my box. These are examples and suggestions for you, but please, I want you to choose what is going to work best for you. As long as you have something for each sense, if not more, you're good to go. All right, so here we go. Let me show you what I have in my box. So I started with things that I can see that would calm me down. So I decided to put in a picture that makes me very happy. It's a picture of my best friend and me, and it's very silly because it's in a photo booth, and it just really always cheers me up. I also decided to put in some cards. They have some really nice notes written in them that are positive. One is from my grandma and grandpa, and the other one is from my mom's friend. So reading those notes and going back to it always makes me smile. You might have also seen some toys that have glitter or oil in them, where the oil and glitter are moving around in cool ways, and it's just so fun to watch. So what I did was I actually made my own little glitter bottle. All I did was I took a water bottle, filled it with some water, not all the way, and then I poured some glitter in it. And when you shake it up like this, shake it up really good, it's so cool to just watch the glitter float around, swim around, and moves all over the place. You can swirl it and it makes like a little hurricane of glitter. It's so awesome. I highly recommend making it. I also like to use little lights like this. This one's cool because it changes colors, and I kind of just like stare at it and focus on the colors changing or just the light. It's almost like meditating because you're focusing on just one thing. So I can check off my box for things that I can see because I've got it done. Next, I decided to have some things that I could smell. And of course I started with candles, and I chose my favorite scent. Oh, anytime I smell it, I'm just like, oh, you smell so good. Another thing I really recommend is having some essential oils in there. And if you're feeling like very angry and like anxious, a good one for you is to have some lavender. It's very, very calming and helps people relax and feel more peaceful. So that's why I recommend that one. And I also recommend having something citrusy for when you're feeling like sad or unmotivated, because citrus scents like oranges, clementines, lemons, those just are very upbeat and give you some more energy and positivity. And the final thing I have for smell is some chapstick. And this one is coconut and pear and immediately reminds me of the beach, so that's why I have it in there, because it makes me happy. So now I can check off my smell boxes. Woohoo! All right, moving on to things that I can hear. So in my room, I actually have these cool cymbals that I put in my box, and I could kind of just listen to the ringing. So if you have something cool like that, maybe a little bell, I would recommend putting something like that in. But there's also some things you could make yourself. For example, I reused this water bottle instead of throwing it in the garbage or recycling bin, and I put in some uncooked rice. You could do this with uncooked noodles or beans too. And what I like to do is I like to either shake it or go slowly or fast, whatever works. Another thing I did was I took some beads and I literally just put them in my hand and I rubbed them around like this. This is good because it makes a cool sound and it's a kind of like a fidget toy, so you're feeling it as well. Another one that helps you feel it and hear it at the same time is having a marker or a pen like this. My students, if you're watching this, they know that I do this all the time in the classroom. Anytime I'm really trying to focus or think while I'm talking, I'm doing this and I don't even realize I'm doing this. So it's really good and helps you focus and really like calm yourself down. You should try it. The next thing is something that you can feel. Oh, can't forget to check it off for hearing. All right, something that you can feel. The best thing for this is to have some type of fidget toy. So if you have fidget spinners, I'm sure lots of you have that. Again, a marker, fidget toy. Anything that's squishy that you can just kind of play with, like a stress ball. I have Play-Doh in mine. Maybe you like to make slime or putty. There's so many things. Another really awesome thing for feel is to put flour in a balloon or in like a glove and tie it up and just squeezing it like a stress ball. And then if you have something soft, like maybe a fabric or a stuffed animal that you kind of just like rub on yourself, oh, that would be good too for feeling. And then the final thing, oh, can't forget to check it off. And the final thing would be taste. So you want to have something that you could kind of taste and like keep in your mouth for a little while. So I would suggest having some type of gum, maybe fruit snacks, anything that's chewy or hard and will like last for a little while is really good for this. All right, and besides having things for our 5 senses, which I just gave you an example of, there are some other items you might want to consider. So one is to have a journal. I have a journal in here so that I could write whenever I'm feeling this way. Sometimes I write about my feelings. Sometimes I write about how I want to feel. Sometimes I just start writing a story and I say, right away. You can also draw a picture as part of journaling. You can have a coloring book. Coloring books are also awesome. If you have colored pencils or crayons, that would be great for you to have in your box. Another really great thing to have is either bubbles or a pinwheel, because this helps us control our breathing and it's something cool to look at. So I like to have bubbles or these pinwheels, and I like to inhale, and when I exhale, I would blow out the bubble, or I'd blow on the pinwheel and I'd see it spinning, or I'd see the bubbles going. So that's very good for sensory and for breathing. So those are really good to have in there. And my final suggestion would be to go through the rest of this YouTube channel and look at some mindful moments and find some that you really love and just write them on a piece of paper and put them in your box. Because then when you start to feel this way, you can kind of like pick up that piece of paper, remind yourself, oh, I have this mindful strategy that I can use right now too. And it might be breathing, it might be some yoga moves, whichever ones work for you. I would definitely suggest putting them in your box so you have them, and it will be handy dandy. So now that you know how to make your own handy dandy toolbox for coping and calming yourself down, I cannot wait to hear about your experience with it. So if you find anything really cool and that works really well and have a suggestion for me or your friends, please feel free to share. Share pictures of your boxes if you'd like. I can't wait to see how well this works for all of you. Have a great day.